Weeks.
All right, everyone. Hey, it's Friday, so it must be another episode of the Q&A with Alan and Marshall show. I am Marshall Atkinson.
I'm Alan Howe with Easy Way.
And welcome to our show. And if you were trying to find it a couple minutes ago, our apologies. We had a StreamYard issue, and we had to quickly relaunch a whole new, show because of something that was going on in StreamYard. So if you got lost or mixed up in that mess, our apologies. And let's remember that this is a live show, and sometimes things happen.
And we've never claimed to be experts at this, even after 120 shows.
Yeah. So it's just one of these things where StreamYard has to work with Facebook and YouTube, and we were pushing it to Twitter, but we didn't really have any Twitter users. So now I've got it pushed to LinkedIn just to see if we get any LinkedIn.
I like LinkedIn. I've been reposting it on LinkedIn a lot, and I've seen people liking it and everything, so that's good.
Yeah, so it's just an experiment. So we're happy to be here. Both Alan and I have had some really crazy busy week this week.
Multiple weeks.
I was in Pennsylvania for a couple of days and had all kind of crazy travel problems.
Yes.
And was happy to actually get to where I was going, but I did race through the O'Hare Airport on Tuesday. And made it onto the plane all out of breath and sweating, but I got onto the plane. So I was really, so if you travel a lot or any, you've probably had to do that, and you know what it's like to go from gate to gate and knowing that your airplane has been boarding for 25 minutes when you get off the plane that you're connecting with.
Yeah. And you know what? We've all had to do it as business travelers, and it's no fun. Nobody likes it. And the older we get, Marshall, I don't know about you, I'm like, oh my Lord.
Yeah, well, I told you I thought I blew my knee out trying to get there.
Yeah, one day there's going to be a heart attack, and they're going to go, hold on, you're going to have to wait in line. The defibrillator's being used ahead of you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and if you don't travel for business like we do, and a lot of people, travel's hard. It is not easy. It sounds glamorous. How glamorous is it, Marshall?
It's not very glamorous.
No, it's not at all. It's awful.
And you put up with a lot. And my way of looking at it is you're only as big as what makes you angry. So if you get all crazy worked up about stuff that you have no control, that really makes you a tiny person, in my view. And we see this happen every single time I fly. There's somebody that's all jacked up and pissed off about something, and they're yelling at the customer service agent who is not going to help them.
Who has no control over it either. And I mean, I travel Delta almost exclusively, and God bless the customer service people. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, right.
It is hard. And Marshall, I mean, we were just talking about it's taxing. One of our topics is, and last week I was in Phoenix, so there's a big time zone shift for me going there and coming back. You were in Pennsylvania this week. You had the same thing. And it's rough. And then I had to get up and Monday off to Columbus, Ohio, and then over to Fort Wayne. And it's tough. But we push on.
Yeah, my trick is to get up and go to bed at the same time, regardless of the time zone.
I do too. I try to. Yeah.
All right. Hey, so we got some folks watching. Let's say hello.
Right.
So, Facebook user, good morning, fellas. So we had a StreamYard issue, and one of them was with Facebook. So you have to give Facebook permission to use your likeness. So if you haven't done that, please do it. If you did it previously and it's not recognizing it, you have to do it over, because we didn't. This isn't our app. We're just renting. So anyway.
And if not, identify yourself. That's cool. And also, like a lot more people are on YouTube. They say that's a lot easier, not live on YouTube, which is fine.
Right. And Ghost is here, as usual, from Sweden. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Cindy's here from Texas. Good to see you.
Always regular. Yeah. Chris?
And Chris is here from Saskatchewan. Mr. Greaves is here from Michigan.
And we were just talking about you, Richard. We both, Marshall and I, have had separate conversations with you, and always good.
Yeah. And another Facebook user, or maybe it's the same one, probably different.
Yeah.
Tyler's here, says cheers. Good morning.
Hey,
I guess
Tyler,
he's
how you doing?
drinking.
What's that?
He must be already drinking. He said cheers.
Yeah.
And Brian's here. Good morning, Brian. Good
Hey,
to
Brian
see you.
from Missouri.
All right. Well, great. So we have a lot to talk about today, and frankly, I don't know how we're going to squeeze it all in. So let's go ahead and pay some bills. And
Marshall, we have another Facebook user on there. Looks like there's an issue with Facebook. Let's remind people of what's happened and try to help them out.
Yeah, so if you're just logging in now, we had a little issue with StreamYard connecting. So we had to relaunch the whole show. It was like a whole different show. And then maybe there's some sort of connectivity issue to us to see who you are. You have to give StreamYard permission to do that. And there is there's a link somewhere that shows that. Where is that? Yeah, it's right here. StreamYard.com/Facebook is where you go. So just give permission, and then we can see who you are. If not, just put your name.
Tell us who you are and where you're from.
Right. All right. Oh, hold on. Ghosta says Delta Airlines is for me is like breakfast in London, lunch in New York, baggage in Buenos Aires.
I've had that.
Trip was good. It was good.
Yeah,
right?
we've all had that where I always call it it's a sad trip when your luggage has had a better vacation than you have, because it's been all over the place.
Yeah. And the question is, do you see my name from Facebook? No. So
most everybody.
We see the Ghost person and Facebook user. So
yeah, it looks like Ghost is the only one on Facebook that we're seeing.
Yeah. So
must be an American thing. Sweden's got their stuff together as usual.
All right. And Wiley, okay, Josh is good. See, he did it. All right. Thanks, Josh.
Well, thank you.
All right. So that being said, let's pay some bills. So we want to thank GSG for sponsoring our show. They're super awesome. And then they have about a minute-long little commercial to watch, and here it is.
GSG, the combination of over half a century of knowledge with industry-leading technology and the customer at the center of everything that we do. Graphic Solutions Group is a powerhouse distributor of traditional screen, sign, wide format digital printing, embroidery, and textile decorating. We are committed to our customers, providing support, educational, and consulting services. Your success is our success. We've seen these industries grow and change in our 70 years. One thing never changes. GSG's dedication providing the best products and services available. We've been around, we'll be around, from the highs and the lows, standing right here with you. GSG, the right products, right away.
All right. So, by the way, if you're just joining us, we were having some connectivity issues with the platforms this morning. And so you're going to see stuff like this where it's just Facebook user. So if you go to StreamYard.com Facebook, you can give StreamYard or Facebook permissions. Hopefully that works. We are not in control. So if it doesn't work for you, just say who you are or whatever, or just be the anonymous Facebook user and we'll just roll with it. So
And that last one that says I'm a ghost now just texted me. That is actually Mark Soldonic from GSG.
oh, is it?
Yes.
Yeah. It affects everybody, folks. So
yeah, even the sponsors. You could look what Cindy put. It's kind of a Mac PC thing now.
What you put? Just
right there. Come join on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, I see. I thought you meant it because she's on a Mac. She could.
No. It's kind of this thing. It's the YouTube versus Facebook thing now. She goes, "Come on, just join on YouTube."
Yeah. So, all right. So we got a lot to talk about. So, first thing we want to do is talk about where's my thing here? The Women in Screenprinting Awards was announced yesterday, and we would like to give a shout out to these amazing entrepreneurs, and we're so happy for them, and congratulations. I don't know everybody, but I know a bunch of these folks, so it's really great. And then this is at screenprintingmagazine.com, Women in Screenprinting Awards 2022. That's the destination. And so let's give a shout out to Amy Baker, who was just on here a couple weeks ago. And so she's really great with Threadbare. There's a whole article about her right here. And then hold on. I skipped over. Mm-hmm. I can't drive buttons today. Alexa Carey with In-House Prints in Frenchtown, New Jersey. And you might see her on Instagram as what's her thing? Life of a Female Screen Printer, right? She posts all the time. So it's really great to see her. And then Allison Collins did a whole bunch of stuff with Here for Good. She's a production manager at Parkway Print Shop in Virginia. Linda Davis. She runs Dynamic Designs in Pennsylvania, and she makes ink, right? So that's just fantastic. There's a great picture of her with this
banners and billboards, which, man, I didn't know that was still being done. That's real exciting to me because I remember having customers that were billboard printing.
Yeah,
that's real exciting. And I don't know her, but man, congratulations.
Congratulations to her. And then Amber Massey, who I know with T-Shirts for Hope. She's fantastic. Fantastic person. And if you've been to any trade show lately, you'll often see her running the rock presses at the trade show. And she does a lot with Skills USA and also working with different types of underprivileged people and people with disabilities and stuff. So that's really awesome. And of course,
she was just
a shout out to Megan Urban, who watches the show and also does a lot with Shirt Lab. And I know Allie and Marge will be super thrilled about her getting the award. They call her the silent assassin just because she doesn't really talk a whole lot, but she is just super impactful. So good to see her win. So congratulations to all these gals, and so excited for you guys. Just really great. So
and for Amy, I am so thrilled for Amy to win, just because we've been friends, we've been on committees together, and just an awesome human being and person and business owner. And you know what? We want to recognize, the women in print as entrepreneurs and business owners. But when Amy and I were talking after our show, she doesn't feel that she's just a woman business, or she's just a business owner. And she had a great quote. She goes, "Business is hard for everybody." And it is. And it's hard to persevere. But I do think that sometimes women have other, I don't want to say obstacles, but, Amy is a mother, and has to, handle that. Some of them are single moms and stuff and different backgrounds. So, thanks a lot, ladies. You make our industry strong. And, it's people like that keep the future going for our industry.
Yeah, I really like it, and I like what Screenprinting Magazine is doing with this.
Yep.
And full transparency here, I'm one of the judges.
So you knew about it before, but yeah.
So I knew about it. I knew who was going to win.
I had no idea. I am not one of the
They
judges.
had 35 or 36 entries. It was extremely tough. This was a really tough slate of people who got nominated.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure how many judges. There's a couple dozen judges. So like this is
Right.
a really big thing. And of course they're going to have the actual awards presented at Printing United. So it's going to be really fun to see that.
Yep.
And hopefully every one of these folks will be there, and very excited about that. So anyway, we wanted to recognize these super talented and amazing people, and I think it's great. So if you know any of these women, or you want to comment about this award, we would love to hear your take on it. So please leave a comment or ask a question or whatever. We'd love to have a discussion about this if you guys want to do that. So that would be really great. We do have some comments, so I want to get that on there. And Cindy says, just come on YouTube. Remember, if you're just joining, we're having some issues with connectivity. So some people are showing up as Facebook user. That's what's going on with that. Josh says haunting crappy prints everywhere because of the
Facebook
ghost comment. Scrimshaw Screenprint says good morning.
Scrimshaw is Shane Mackey out of New England there, and Shane has had some health problems but doing well. And Shane, hang in there, buddy. We've known each other for a long time, praying for you, and glad you're on, man.
Yeah, and Cindy King says congratulations all. So
absolutely.
Thanks, Cindy. So anyway, I love this type of stuff, and
I did too.
I think I think there needs to be more recognition in the industry for fantastic work, and for actually printing, but maybe there should be a business award also, not just for printing, but for running a good business or something, and have that open to, all comers, right? And kind of like they do with the Inc. 5000, right?
Right.
What we should do is we should do our own contest, the Inc. The Inc. 50 or something.
Inc. 50, I like that.
INC, it's INK.
Ooh, that would be nice.
How would we do that? What that idea just came to me. What could be the parameters for that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm writing it down though.
So just brainstorming here. If you're watching, throw us your ideas how we could vote, have an industry award that's based on certain parameters for running your business, not necessarily for the print craftsmanship, but maybe for just running your business, right?
Yep, running it well.
I think that would be an interesting thing.
I love that most of these people, too, a lot of humanitarian efforts have always gone into it. I know the previous winners, Allie and Marge, all do a lot of humanitarian endeavors. And I think that's important in our personal lives and in our businesses, too.
Yeah, it is important. It is important. Yep. So, by the way, Scrimshaw says, thanks, Alan. I'm on the road to recovery now.
I'm glad to hear that, Shane, man. Yeah, absolutely, bud.
All right. So,
Shane is also, just so you know, is also a punk rock freak and a skateboard whiz. And but runs a great business. So I've known him a long time. So I was sad to hear he was struggling.
A lot of T-shirt companies were formed because of punk rock bands, right?
Yes.
I I really think T-shirts and punk rock go together.
I think
T-shirts so than even other types of rock bands. There's something about a punk band that screams a really crappy looking print on a shirt that's got the sleeves cut off or something.
When you look at guys like Jacob Edwards at Jack Prince, Joe Sudrovic from Gorilla Joe's. Joe was not in a punk rock band. He was in a hardcore band. and toured Europe and stuff on there. And it sounds glamorous. I've worked in that industry. It's not. Ryan Moore, Brett Bowden actually played with The Rocket summer, who was pretty well known. So yeah, there's a lot of it, and even like from bands like I'm not going to say his name, but one of my customers is with the band Hawthorne Heights, and who's very well known in that music scene. Mike Helgera from MXPX has his own shop. So yeah, there's a lot of it.
Yeah, right.
So,
cool. Well, hey, let's switch gears and let's talk about our next topic, which is completely different than this award.
Oh yeah,
it's really about proper procedures, and I think this is something that a lot of shops miss, is building out your process, building out your procedures, and really thinking about intentionally how should things work. Right? What is the shop way for doing anything? Putting an order in the system, or coding a screen, or setting up a job, or taping a box and shipping it, or whatever. Right?
You know what the biggest one now, Marshall, in the recent is? How about incoming garments? What's there? What's not? When does it go? That everybody's had to redo, and if they haven't, needs to redo their procedures on that.
Well, several of my last coaching online in-person coaching sessions that I've done with shops, I think 4 of the last 5 have been redoing somebody's receiving department.
Yeah.
And it's because, we used to get, when we ordered stuff, it would be, maybe 1, maybe 2 shipments for the order. Now it's like 5 or 6. And we're touching things so much more, and we have to really take that into consideration with what we're doing and where we're putting things and how do we find it again and where's it going and all of that stuff. The communication part, there's a lot of layers to that, and it's easy to have this just giant pile of stuff, and where are those shirts that we just received 2 days ago? Now we can't find them.
Yep.
It's a giant challenge, and having procedures about how you do stuff is how you straighten out the chaos, right?
The other thing too is, things that change, and a lot of it is, over the years. Some of it's been COVID, some of it's not. It's in the contract printing. If you're doing any contract printing, it's difficult now just to be a contract printer, because now it's all about fulfillment. And if you're not
it's the services that you're offering. Right?
Yeah, but now almost all contract printers, if they're not doing fulfillment, they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So you got to have those procedures, and keep moving with them. I'm sorry, Marshall, and I talked over you on that. I apologize.
Well, I was going to say, I know a lot of contract printers, and a lot of them are, they do stuff for the promo folks, right? Mm-hmm. And promo is all about fulfillment, because they don't want to bring in that fulfillment project to their office and ship it out. So a lot of contract printers have moved into doing the boxes, where you got a shirt and a T-shirt and a coffee mug and a sticker or whatever, and that's going out to 1,000 people on a spreadsheet, right? They're doing that, and it has become a huge profit center for people. Mm-hmm. So what does it take to do that? It takes a lot of smarts, it takes space, and it takes proper procedures, because if you goof it up, right? You get off on your shipping labels or whatever, right? It's a gigantic nightmare. So you have to have everything down, and here's where procedures can save your bacon. So,
agreed. Even if the clientele you currently have had, one of my clients in Chicago did a lot of events for races and stuff, and they would print the shirts and all that and send them right to the event. No, now it's individual bagged and sent right to the person. And so instead of that, they've had to come up with procedures for, of course, bagging and tagging. And they said it used to be, you know, UPS boxes and truck shipments, and now it's 1,000, you know, United States Post Office pouches with a shirt in it. And,
Right.
you know, you still got to just change your procedures on there. But they've done well, and their second auto reclaim is going in, I believe, next week.
Is it?
Yep.
That's great.
So yeah, procedures are there, and then I think sometimes on proper procedures, it's a good time to look at your current procedures, and when doing them, going, is this procedure the best way? What can we tweak? What can we streamline? What can we make tighter on it?
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So we got some comments.
Yep.
So happy Friday from Alpharetta. I bet that's Sean.
I'm thinking so.
If you're just joining us, we had some connectivity issues today, so you need to go to StreamYards.com/Facebook and give permission. I know you've already done that once in your life, but hey, it's like Groundhog Day here, pal.
Yeah, we live in an imperfect world.
Yeah.
Or as Cindy said, go to YouTube.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
over to the YouTube side.
So, are there any Shirt Lab tribe members in the Portland, Maine area? I'm not sure who this is. Can you email me at marshall@marshallatkinson.com and I will help you. I don't want to throw those names out here on this show, but I'll have to check. I'm not quite sure if anybody's in Maine. He might be New England. Maine is such a sparsely populated state. There's probably more people in the New England area than there are in Maine.
And there are in Massachusetts and stuff.
Yeah, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, all that stuff. So anyway, email me and then I'll look it up later. Okay. Josh says seems to be ever-evolving process with most of our softwares not ready for 5 to 7 packages, trying to check in a 24-piece order. Exactly, right? So this is our challenge in the fact that one of the biggest issues that a lot of shops face, for me, especially in receiving, I want 100% of the goods that come in to be checked in, verified, and checked into the system the same day it comes in, right? And so we used to be able to do that easily with minimal staff because we're touching things once. So when we start touching stuff 5 to 7 times, what happens is we can't get to everything and we have to change the way we do things.
Yep.
Okay. And this could mean a different procedure or process. This could mean more staff. This could mean a lot of stuff. There isn't a one-size-fits-all to things. And I know, especially with contract printers, it's really common to get what I call the Skittles order, where they've got 48 pieces and every shirt is a different color, size, and style. And you're having to manually count that against the PO and stuff. What I'm advising, by the way, is just divide that into lights and darks and not worry about sizes and colors. And just say, hey, we've got 24 whites, we got 24 blacks. Looks like it's all here. And because there isn't enough time in the day to get through all that, right? And that way you can receive it. Hopefully it's complete because you're, especially with contract printing, your customer is doing that ordering, not you. And this just helps push that order through faster. So anyway. Just a comment there on that. What else about processes and procedures, Alan? So that's what we're talking about.
On the shirt thing, one of my clients does a lot of stores, and what they've been doing as shirts come in or that store is ready to go and they are minus one item, they've been training their customer service people to contact the customer, and here's your options, either by email. 1, here's your alternative. 2, we can refund the money. We need to know in 24 hours. And if they don't hear from them in 24 hours, they're just automatically going to refund the money because they can't keep taking the time. It was just such a profit suck.
Yeah.
And nobody, when you put that time frame of 20 people were responding, no, the replacement's fine. Or yes, just refund it or go to a different size or whatever.
Yeah.
And so you've got to adjust that and stay with it. We were just talking about that on the phone because he said it worked great for a while. Then customer service got a little lax in doing it, and they're coming up with the problems again. And now it's sucking their production time, and he knows they're going to get busier and busier. And so he said to go back and just kind of, okay, guys, let's get back on track with this.
And let's talk about being busy. So right now, I know because I talk to a lot of shops during the week, as do you. Things are ramping up because it's back to school. It's the fall. We got a lot more going on sometimes than we had in the summer. And what happens when we get busy is that's when people start taking shortcuts. They start not following the procedures that are outlined. They start like not using a checklist or reviewing what they just did to make sure it's correct before they pass it on to the next person in the process, right? And this is where all the mistakes happen, and this is where all your errors happen. This is where things get bogged down and mired into huge challenges, is because somebody skipped step 4 in the process. And because we're busy, they do the blessing from the Pope and just say, yeah, that's right, and not actually counting or not actually reviewing or not actually doing what they need to do to make sure it's right. And then it's discovered somewhere down the line that it was wrong.
Yeah.
Right. So a thing that you might want to be thinking about is just actually saying these words. Everyone, I know you're busy. Take a minute, review whatever you're doing, review it and make sure it's right before we pass it on to the next person, right? Before we do the next step, just verify that it's correct, because this is going to solve so much pain and misery and headaches that you might have later. It's a big issue, right? And typically it's when we were slow and now we're crazy busy. That's when it happens more than anything.
Absolutely. And you know what? Those, again, I can't reiterate, those procedures have to be looked at and, sometimes adjusted anytime there's a change. You get a new piece of equipment, you have a new,
Uh-oh. Alan, did you freeze up? Hey, you can tell it's a live show. Alan will be back in a minute. So what he was saying is you get something new, and then, you got to be doing things properly, right? So got a great comment here. For the want of a nail, the horse was lost. So perfect there. Good comment, whoever that was. But also, when we're thinking about procedures, oh, he's back. Hey, say something.
Hey, how you doing? And that's the wrong camera.
And now you got a giant head.
bigger than it normally is.
It's all good. So what were you saying?
Well, I heard what you were saying, and you were correct on it and everything there. So that's just something when my Brio camera is not going on. So this is we're just going to do my computer camera.
Let's not worry about it.
With the giant head.
It's Giant Head Allen Day on Friday.
It's always Giant Head Allen. It's just bigger head. So
what were you saying, Alan? Before you got rudely interrupted?
Anytime you get a new piece of equipment, new procedure, and as I'm adjusting while talking, these have to be looked at. These have to be looked at always and adjusted. We were just talking all the rage, and they're a great piece of equipment, Marshall, or some people are going from instead of direct to screen to a laser printer. and you were talking to a client that's having some
A
trouble.
laser exposure unit, not a laser printer.
Laser exposure, not laser printer. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. And you know what? Never thought about it. You can't see the image, and the people were not washing out all of the image and caused a lot of repeats. And that's a quick fix. Does that mean that the product's bad? No. It means you've got to adjust your process.
Right. So what are the procedures, right? So think about how a machine would do it. So if you're manually washing out that screen that was exposed by the laser, you can't see where all the open areas are that you need to wash out. So you have to have a process where you're replicating a machine, because a machine is not going to assume that there isn't something over here in the corner.
Right.
It's going to give equal treatment to every section of the screen, and that's gonna help you, right? So
absolutely.
Great book on the subject, The Checklist Manifesto. I wonder.
That's like Richard Greaves. That's got to be Ray Greenwood. Who?
Ray Greenwood. Okay.
I'm guessing Facebook user who just did the quote of the horse and the nail and the book. Identify yourself.
Yeah. All right, and with Shirt Lab eyewear, thanks.
And you know what, Marshall? We did check. You and I do have the exact same kind of glasses, both Ray-Bans, right? Yeah.
Huh?
We have the exact same kind.
These are Oakley.
Oh, mine are Ray-Bans. Okay, I thought we did at one time. So.
Yeah. All right. So procedures, you guys know this stuff, right? But a lot of times we know these things, and then we just don't do a good job of either implementing them or making sure they're working. And that's where the breakdown occurs, right? So, when I go to shops, one of the things I do is just stand in the corner and observe. And I think if we just watch people work, and just make notes about, hey, where's that guy going? Or what's going on? Or what are we struggling with? And that type of stuff. And write this stuff down and then start investigating it. This is where you're going to find some time savings, some effort savings. Yep. This is where, you can see what's really going on and where people are struggling. Also, I would recommend talking with your crews. What's not working? What's broken? What are you struggling with? Those are all great questions to ask, because then we can resolve that stuff, right?
Absolutely.
So, all right. So we have a GSG little thing from their Pulse, which is all about today. Speaking of procedures, is going to be pre-cut letters and numbers, and I think our industry is probably the number one user of pre-cut names and letters, letters and numbers, and that's just because we don't want to do the printing for these.
Great.
And they're very easy to do. And GSG, by the way, sells these, and these are Stalls, and they're awesome because Stalls does them, right? Yep. And so I was just thinking, and before the show, we were talking about, well, why would you order the Stalls numbers from GSG? And what did we decide was the best reason, Alan?
Well, one, it's one-stop shop. People still buy from who they like, who they trust. So one, and then delivery. If they're stocking them, they have them, and they can get them to you quicker. Plus, you can bundle all your embroidery, your backing, your screen printing, your sign, whatever, and you can add numbers on it. That's a win.
Yeah, it's just ordering supplies from one provider is an efficient way to do it. And remember, we're talking about procedures right here, right? So this is a perfect way to, if you're ordering consumables, part of your procedure is really, we're going to cut down on the time and the effort it takes to order things by just doing it all with one person. And GSG is a great source for that. And if you want to learn more, just go to gogsg.com. I've got a link right here. and then this is their Pulse magazine, which is in their header. So this is a booklet of really great products and sales, savings, and all kinds of things. So look through that, and you can find this. This happens to be page 16 here.
Yep.
And it's a 28-page little booklet. And they put this out a couple times a year, and there's all different stuff all the time. So go check it out at gogsg.com.
Absolutely.
All right. So, and we got a great comment here from Cindy. It's time saving too. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Love it. Good comment, Cindy.
Can you cut out your own numbers? Can you print your own numbers? Yes. Should you? Not always.
Right. So, all right. So our third topic today, if I can find the thing, is really the title of my blog tomorrow. And I read this quote from a book author. His name is Alan Weiss, so it's not my phrase, but I think it's awesome, which is, we train animals, we educate people. And so my blog tomorrow is all about this, but I thought it was worthwhile to have a discussion about this because we really need to do a better job in this industry of training and building our bench strength. And I love this phrase, we train animals, we educate people, because I think the emphasis here needs to be on education. It needs to be on what to do next and how to do things, and educating people and getting them to go to the next level. And think about your program as an education experience for your people. Mm-hmm. And that's what you need to be building and promoting within your company. And right now, there's shops out there that are trying to find a screen printer. Have you heard about this challenge, Alan?
Once or twice, like every day, every shop.
So how come you haven't educated, not trained, but educated somebody on your current staff to do that process? Mm-hmm. You know, and I this week I talked to 2 or 3 shops, and one of their big challenges right now is they need more of a certain person in a certain role, and they haven't done the work necessary to educate them on what they need to do. And the challenge is that there isn't enough time, right? That's what I always hear. There's not enough time. Okay. There is time. We just have to prioritize it better, right? And so this is an on-purpose thing that you need to be thinking about. This is a brand new month. It's only the second day of the month. So how many education sessions for different areas in your shop could you build out right now? And I'm talking only about a little 30-minute class, right? A 30-minute class on how to coat the screen or mix the ink or set up a job or put an order in the system or whatever you feel is your biggest liability as far as knowledge in your shop is right now, right? Put that together on a calendar. Who's going to teach it? Who's going to learn? What do they need to know? That type of stuff. And then another thing you can do is, as you're doing it, use one of these magic devices. You might have one of these. It's called a cell phone. Inside the cell phone, to quote Richard Greaves, is a movie studio. You can record this stuff, right? And that way you have a class, create a private YouTube link, YouTube video of whatever you're training, and now you've got it recorded about how to receive something or how to fold a t-shirt or to tape up a box or to name your task, right? Record it, and that way you've got a library of how to do things in your shop, and you can educate your staff. So what are your thoughts on that, Alan?
Well, I think that's perfect. The only thing I would add, too, is this is, again, we were just talking about GSG as a supplier. This is where a relationship with your suppliers, whether it be embroidery, whether it be screen printing, you can actually have your salesperson, your technical person, or your sometimes bring in the manufacturer's rep. I love it when there's companies will give me 30 minutes on not just the products they're using, but why it's doing what the proper procedures. And it's not so much here's how to do it, but why you're doing it that way compared to another. And it's still about procedures and it's still about education. And so you have, if you don't have a crow, I say it all the time, you can order from anybody off a keyboard. But when it comes to stuff like this, who's your partner in crime there? Who's your partner in business? And Marshall, when you were managing large shops, you had a great relationship with your ink suppliers and your supplier, and you had them come in all the time.
I had I call them lunch and learns, and we would bring in pizza or deli sandwiches or whatever, and we would have different departments participate because it's not always about screen printing. Sometimes it was embroidery or customer service or whatever, and we would bring stuff in, and we would have one topic. For example, dye migration. Right? What is dye migration? And so we would have examples. Sometimes we would have a vendor come in. Sometimes it was just me doing it, right? And we would educate people about what it is and how to stop it, or how to prevent it, or how to think about it, or what are the buzzwords? What do things mean? A lot of this industry is vocabulary dependent. Right? So what is fibrillation? What is dye migration? What is the proper cure temp, right? What are these things? A lot of people don't know. They just don't know, right? And so this is what is EOM, right? We throw around these words all the time. That doesn't mean that your staff knows what you're talking about, right? So I think having these type of things, whether it's at lunch or it's at 1 o'clock or it's the end of the day or beginning of the day, or it's just 10 minutes in the morning as part of your morning stand-up. It doesn't matter. How can you work in more education for your crews, right?
I think so important when you talk about vocabulary, because different parts of the country, different shops have the different names for the same product. And I did a seminar on screen printing chemicals just to divide them out, because there's so many. How do you know that? What's the difference between an IR, a screen wash, an ink wash, on there? Well, really nothing. Here's how you tell the difference. Some need to be rinsed, some won't dry on there. What's a press wash? What's an on press, and difference. Some people call them emulsion removers. Some people call them strippers. Some people call them acid, which are, on there, and they're really not, and stuff. So
what's the difference between hydro mesh and S mesh?
Nothing. S mesh is the term. Hydro mesh is
the
brand. And Murakami made S mesh, which is what the thread diameter used to be measured as. There was HDT and S threads, and they just made it the brand, which was brilliant.
And I'll never forget when I moved from Florida to Wisconsin, right? They were talking about sweater orders. And I'm like, you guys print on sweaters? And I'm thinking cable knit sweaters. And what is it? It's a sweatshirt. I'm like, well, why don't you call it a sweatshirt? Why are you calling it a sweater? And they're like, we don't know. It's just a word. But I didn't understand what they were talking about. I had to ask and say, why are we printing on sweaters? What's going on with this, right? And it's just the word that people use, right? And I always thought that was really, frankly, it's still for me hilarious that people print on sweaters.
I have heard
You're
that.
From Michigan. Do you call it? What do you call a sweatshirt? Do you call it a sweater? Sweats, but not a sweater.
No, I've heard people call it that too, and it confuses me to death.
Yeah, well, I'm from Florida, right? So for the longest time, I didn't even own socks that went past my ankles, right? So when
we call them sweat or hoodies.
Some sweatshirts don't have a hood.
Yeah,
right?
And those are just sweats.
Right. So,
those are sweats. So.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you a funny story. When I was in Australia in '99, bunch of people there, some of the Aussies and stuff, we had them over to our condos to we're gonna fix dinner, and they were a younger group. we'll fix Sloppy Joes. So we had to go to the grocery store and get stuff for Sloppy. They were confused as can be.
Yeah.
Sloppy Joes is a brand name for long underwear.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, it was hilarious. They showed me, we got to get stuff for Sloppy. And they took me, why are we going to look for Sloppy? And they showed it to me. I'm like, oh, no. They go, we're going for lunch? What is this? So it was hilarious.
That is funny. I guess I never heard the Adam Sandler song, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the Sloppy Joe song, yeah.
So, Facebook user, suggestions for your favorite remote desktop login and why. To be honest, I don't really use it and haven't. I know there's there's one called remote login or remote desktop. There's another one called GoTo, I think. I don't know. I don't use them. I think you just got to play around with it. I know that some people use a system called Citrix, where everything is in the cloud and the workstation is just a workstation, but all the information is kept somewhere else. It's not on the hard drive. And you see a lot of really big companies use that. Mm-hmm. Citrix is super common, popular with big corporations, not so much our industry. So I'm not really sure what you're trying to solve there, but would love to help. If anybody watching is using a remote desktop login, leave your comment. Do you have a suggestion, Alan?
You know what? The companies I've worked for where we've used them, we just had login codes, and I don't know what they used. I don't pay attention to it. So okay. I don't use it for my personal stuff at all.
There you go. Remote PC, $30 a year.
Facebook user, identify yourself, please.
Yeah, who's that? All right. So while we're waiting, Ghosta says, get them small education movies on a server and a QR code in the workplace. Easy access when in need.
Yeah. Right?
By the way, if you're watching for the first time and you wonder why Ghosta can't spell, it's because he's from Sweden and this is not his original language. So we give him a discount, a break.
Pass on it, yeah. Because his English is way better than our Swedish.
Yeah. It's like in embroidery, we have a special language. You can get your point across if you speak the same language, right? So what is your shop terminology, right? For example, what I've always taught people is a full front, right? Prints 3 inches down from the bottom of the collar and is 13 inches wide, right? So that's what we have, that same term for sales, and then the art department and in production, we're all using the same term, full front, and that way we know how wide to make the graphic and we know where it's supposed to go on the shirt, and nobody has to have special instructions because that's the default term, okay?
Yep.
Facebook users, I have a bunch of new leads from UpLead. What's the best thing to do when it comes to first contact? Is it better to call or email? Well, I'll tell you, personally, I believe the most human company wins. So we do business with our friends, not our enemies. So if you're trying to create a better impression with somebody, I would try to do the most human thing you can do, and which would be calling them. Better yet is to see if you can schedule a Zoom call so we can see each other face to face. And if you're in the same city, go see them. Right?
Absolutely.
Best is we're all humans. We want to interact as humans. If you want to hide behind email, go ahead and do that. That's totally cool. If you're doing an email blast, that's totally cool too. But if you're really trying to make an impression with somebody, try to show up as a person. Frankly, a lot of the stuff that I do, I record videos. Like I might do a video, go, hey, Alan, nice to meet you. It's Marshall Atkinson here. I've got an interesting thing that's going on. I would love to spend a couple of minutes talking with you about it. At the end of the video is a link to my calendar. Please click the link and let's schedule a time to talk about it.
Yep.
Video with my face using their name, and I bring a lot of excitement to that, and that always really does a great job. And most of the time you schedule a call and we have a conversation, right? So try using video, try doing Zoom calls. That's where I would start.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big still pick up the phone call because it's human to human, but there's a lot into that on there. You just a bunch of new leads. Are these leads qualified?
Yeah.
Where'd you get them from? And so if they're qualified at all by you, they're from a trade show or an event you did, and you remember some people that, hey, we had a great conversation, we had coffee, we did whatever, and there's notes and stuff. This was very hot. You want to follow up on them first. You can do an email out saying thank you for attending whatever it was. We will be in contact with you within whatever the time frame, or you can contact us, but make sure you do that. And
well, creating a video, like one of the things I like to do is to use a Post-it note and write a couple of bullet points of what I want to say. Put that right underneath the camera lens so you remember what you're talking about, and then you can record several dozen videos in an hour. It's going to take 2 or 3 minutes each, and then you're sending those by email to your leads. So you're coming across about 6 levels above everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're trying to just email somebody, I would use a video.
Agreed.
My record, by the way, is 48 videos and 28 videos in 48 minutes.
Yeah.
So recorded and sent. So and I do a video like I'm talking about at least once a day, all the time. Right. So
first contact.
Soapbox is a great platform for that.
Yep,
you could also use Loom. Loom's good for that too. So, what were you saying, Alan?
Soapbox I use too. I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah. Facebook user says strippers, not in screen printing.
I'm sorry, but they're called emulsion removers at times, and not what your dirty little faceless mind is probably thinking.
We have several shops that use those screen videos for training purposes in their shops. We developed a 7-part video series specifically for them to use as standard operating procedures. Great. Good job, Rick. Thanks for commenting.
Yep, and that is GSG at its finest right there.
Fleece is same as sweats.
Yep.
There's a group of people here that call them sweaters. We were totally confused too. Thank you, Cindy. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Remote PC, we did that one. Remote PC, Josh uses it. There you got 2 votes.
Yeah.
We use Google Remote Desktop. Is there a charge for that, Brian, or is that free? I work for a bank and they use something called Duo. I've used Citrix also, and it seems bulky.
Duo is a Verizon thing, I believe, possibly. I've used it before with the company I work for, so I don't know. I may be wrong. Duo seems seamless. So
maybe we need some cue cards with shop terminology. Well, here's the thing: it can, as an industry, we all agree on the same words. That would be interesting. Having an industry vocabulary list. That's hard to say. Vocabulary.
First thing: never call screen printing ink paint.
That's right.
Ever, never.
Unless you really want to get some people riled up.
You come to a trade show and say, I have a question on some of your paint, you will be dismissed usually and not take it seriously. Yeah.
The subject came up in another group regarding the racking of post-exposed screens. I've always racked horizontally. Others are racking vertically. Again, these are post-exposed screens, not freshly coated screens. What have you seen?
Well, they're post-exposed, so you've already rinsed out all the image on there real well. You put them back in the exposure unit under the light for a long time. So it doesn't matter on how you can set them up. You can set them flat. It doesn't matter. The emulsion's not going to move. It's already exposed.
So a couple best practices I've seen is that a day or two before you're going to run the job, there is a rack for the press, and we're putting the screens on the rack for a job, and the screens are labeled with the order number for the job. And also, I was just at a shop, and they had a cookie sheet that they put on, that they welded or whatever to the top of the rack, and then all of the inks for those screens are at the top of the rack. Yep. And what they do is the day before, they they wheel the rack over to press 2, and these are the screens and the ink for the jobs they're running. I've also seen the screens on a rack, and they're stored vertically, and there's a piece of tape around the screens with the order number and the name and the date on them, and the rack is segregated by the number of screens for the job. So if you're trying to pull screens for job 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's on press 2, you can look it up and know that it's a 3-screen job. And then all the jobs that use 3 screens are right here in this section, and there's only 5 of them. And it makes it really easy to grab them and stage it by the screen. That's how I taught people to do it, by the way.
Yep.
And then you have a section for hot rush jobs that is that's the first thing you come to, right? So those typically have to go out faster. This makes it really easy to stage things because it's easy to find. And also, I like to put the date on it, because if you've got screens on your screen rack for something that should have been printed 6 weeks ago, that's a dead order, and you need to be looking that up to find out what happened.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so there you go. There's your SOP on it for post-exposing and setting them up. The original question was there a difference on there on post-exposed? No. Richard has a great comment on it that down there. Once the emulsion dries, he says, it's not emulsion, it's a stencil. And
perfect.
So it's there, which is perfect.
Vocabulary.
And that's one there, we always say EOM, which is emulsion over mesh, but when we're measuring, it's already dry and exposed, so it's a stencil. So it should be SOM.
Yeah, right. Cindy says, I would send an email and ask when's a good time to call. I get really mad when I have a rep call on a Friday when we're super busy. So this is, Cindy, this is where instead of sending an email, you create the video, and in the video we say, hey, use my Calendly link and schedule the call based on when it's convenient for you. For me, that's what I do. The open slots all work for me. So just pick what works for you. We're all good, because, I talk to people in every time zone plus other countries, and this is a really great way of doing it. So study potential purchasers' website and our Facebook, LinkedIn. Know them before they know you.
Oh, absolutely. Exactly. I do it all the time.
Yeah. Thanks for the answers. Really appreciate this. No problem. Free, my favorite price. That's on the Google remote login. We did that one. We use Team Viewer. I guess that's the it should be a V there, not a W, because that's the URL, right?
Yep.
Caught the last 5 minutes. Happy Labor Day. Thank you, whoever you are.
Yep.
Appreciate you. Print the order as the design number 48192-1 or 2 or 3, and that is the number of screens. That's brilliant. Love that. Okay, good idea too. Thank you, Cindy. I just learned that PhD is projects half done. Great. Great. Lunchtime. Thank you all. Great show. Perfect. Oh, we're out of time. How about that?
We're there. We didn't even get to our last one.
Our last one was talking about Labor Day weekend. So we want to just thank everybody for everything you do for the industry. Make sure you take some time to relax, take off your watch, don't wear shoes, go to the beach, get in the pool, go fishing, spend some time with your children or your spouse, read a book, do anything but what we do in this industry. Just get away. What are you doing, Alan? What do you got going on?
You know what? I'm doing what I need to do. I'm doing absolutely nothing. And I don't know yet, and I'm loving it. Marshall, you and I were just talking about this. You asked how my week's going. I was busy the last multiple weeks, and I'm facing it. I told, we act like we have it together. I told Marshall I've been struggling these last 2 days. He goes, man, you've been hitting it hard. And so I'm really looking forward to just decompressing and coming back at it next week. You got to do it. It happens all.
you need time to take an afternoon nap and not do stuff and just relax and enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, have a beer, have a margarita, a glass of wine, whatever floats your boat, right? We need that as people. I know this weekend I'm going to be probably putting something in my smoker. I'm probably going to be in my pool. I know Sunday night I'm going to be yelling at my TV because my team, Florida State Seminoles, plays the LSU Tigers Sunday night. Yep. Hopefully we'll be whipping some Tiger butt. So hopefully Monday I'll be rolling in victory awesomeness. Will this call be recorded? Yes, this is on the Marshall Atkinson YouTube channel, so you can see this in its entirety there. We also have a podcast, so it's just a Q&A with Alan and Marshall podcast. That's on all of the podcast channels. Just look that up, and you can subscribe to that.
Just the audio. So, yes, everything can be replayed.
Yep. Also, Brian says Tobley teaches to put the number of screens on each screen, i.e. 1 of 3. Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Always do that. So,
Mr. Talib is over in Norway right now, I believe.
Yeah, he should stop by and see Ghosta.
Ghosta, yeah. Is he? Are you hosting him? So I just saw he was in Oslo.
I think he's hanging out with his wife.
I think so. Charlie's a very good one. As busy as he is, when he's with his family, he doesn't work a lot. So
that's the way to be.
Yep.
No.
Well, also, I think Charlie's wife would probably kill him.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, everyone, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you. I want to make sure that you guys have a great Labor Day weekend and just take some time to relax, be with your friends, be with your family, because that's what I'm doing. And we'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks a lot. Have a great weekend, guys. Hey, share this with some other people in the industry too. We appreciate you being regular listeners.
Right. Hey, take care. See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.